Reporting live from Rye-Town News headquarters, Alexandra Sims and Megan Bradley.
Hello and good evening. I'm Megan Bradley reporting for Rye-Town News. For decades now, the U.S. has been struggling to reduce the number of hate crimes resulting from biases towards a particular race, religion, sexual orientation, or ethnicity. In 2011, the FBI stated that 6,222 criminal incidents had been reported, and of these, 20.8% were motivated by sexual orientation bias. A couple of days ago, we sat down with Corinne Leslie to talk about the devastating hate crime that was committed 6 months ago against her brother Danny. How long have you been living in Rye?
I've been living in Rye with my family for my whole life, but I'm a senior now.
Tell me a bit about Danny. What is he like?
Danny was the boy that everyone loved. You know, he always had a smile on his face, and he was athletic, but had a sweet side too. He always knew when I was having a bad day, and would come home and give me a hug. He's openly gay, and he even dressed as a princess for Halloween, which everyone loves and no one cared about. Well, at least we thought.
What do you remember about the day Danny was targeted? What happened?
You know, it started out as such a normal day. Danny and I even ate breakfast together. He went off to soccer practice, and I stayed at home to do some work. About 2 hours later, we got the call from the police. All I remember is hearing the bowl that my mother was hearing shattered as it hit the floor. You know, her face was just in complete shock. On the way to the hospital, she told me what happened, how Danny had been beaten because he was gay, because he was just standing up for what he believed in. When we got to the hospital, we weren't even allowed to see him. Imagine that, going to the hospital and not even being allowed to see your little brother. When we finally were allowed in, his face and body was covered with blood. There was, it seems like hundreds of tubes hooked up to his little body. And the doctors didn't know if he was going to live. It was hard seeing him like that. And I went over and held his hands and just prayed that he was going to be okay. And just remember sitting there thinking that I was going to get revenge on the guy that did this, because no one was going to hurt my brother like that.
Has anything like this ever happened in Rye before?
I mean, sure, you hear incidents of, you know, like kids getting hazed or beaten up, but for the most part, we're a pretty accepting community.
How is your brother doing now?
After the incidents, he refused to go back to school. He was scared that some kid was going to gang up on him again. And even now, my mother has to homeschool him because he's scared of going out into the real world.
Did you have such strong opinions regarding hate crimes before Danny's incident? And how have you changed your opinion since then?
You know, of course I'd heard about hate crimes in the news. It just had never hit home before. I never thought about what I would do if it happened to someone I knew. Now, whenever I think about it, it gets me so angry. I want to take action. The people that commit these acts should be locked up. Honestly, I don't think they deserve to be walking the same streets as us, eating at the same restaurants, or even looking at us as we pass them on the sidewalk. They should be rotting inside a jail cell so no one ever has to go through what Danny did.
How has the community's opinions on hate crimes changed since?
The community has been really supportive of our family. They raised money to help pay for Danny's medical bills and even proposed that we approach the state about passing harsher hate crime bills. Everyone has stood behind us the whole way, and it's honestly been really amazing.
Wow, what an emotional story. I can't even imagine the difficult time that this family must be going through. Next, we had the opportunity to sit down with the perpetrator, Nikola Jovanovic. We were able to gain further insight into why he committed this horrific crime and how it's affecting his life right now.
So what grade are you in?
11th.
And what grade is Danny in?
9th.
Rye High School?
Yeah.
So did you know Danny personally?
No, but everyone knew Danny. He was always in the hallways, just running around and being really, really out there and gay.
So can you tell me exactly what happened on that day with Danny?
Well, I was having baseball practice while he was having soccer practice, and we finished at the same time, so I just followed him, and he just started to annoy me. As I was following him, he just annoyed me even more, so I came up from behind him and just started hitting him with the baseball bat in my hand.
So you beat him up because he was gay?
Yeah. I have a problem with gay people. I just don't think there's a reason to be gay, and I don't think society should be so open about and so accepting of gay people. And I think that the institution of marriage should just be for straight couples and not for gay people. And Danny just symbolized all of that, of all that's wrong right now in our country.
So you don't regret what you did? You think what you did was morally correct and anyone would have done it?
I don't regret what I did. I think it's morally correct, and I think it should have been done, and it should have been anyone out there. We are losing touch with what was once America, and why. It just boggles my mind why we're letting this happen. Why? Why is it okay that Danny is doing what he's doing? You know what? Done. I'm done. You know what?
Nicola, just please.
Thank you, Allie. After this incident occurred, New York State realized how serious and frequent such violent prejudice action had become against minority groups. They issued a new law to prevent such crimes from occurring without punishment. New York State is one out of the 45 states that have laws banning bias-motivated violence. Many additional laws have been approved in the past to reprimand such crimes, including Matthew Shepard and James Budd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act in 2009, which expanded existing United States federal hate crime laws.
In addition, before Matthew Shepard, the government had been working to tackle hate crimes on a more strict level. The government passed the Civil Rights Act of 1998 and the Violent Crime Control and Enforcement Act of 1994, which both required an increase in federal prosecution of anyone who, quote, willingly injures, intimidates, or interferes with another person or attempts to do so by force because of the other person's race, color, religion, or national origin.
We asked Corinne what her opinion was regarding the government's actions and how they should continue to take action.
I think that a bill needs to be passed, making the punishment of these types of crimes even worse than it already is. People claim they performed an act like this because it says so in the Bible, or that gays don't deserve to live. Well, if you spent one day with my brother, you would know that he would never hurt a fly. The government isn't taking this stuff seriously. It happens too often, and we need to keep pushing the government to make some changes.
Similarly, after Matthew Shepard was beat up and left to die in Laramie, Wyoming because of his sexual orientation in 1998, the Tectonic Theater Group traveled there to interview the residents. Later, a play was written based on the residents' real-life interviews on their perception on the event. The Laramie Project was premiered in 2000 and continues to make a huge impact on American society.
To conclude tonight's segment, here's a clip from Rye High School's own performance of the Laramie Project, which was dedicated to Danny Leslie.
You don't believe in that attribute of God?
So was Romaine Patterson.
That's
After
perfect
seeing Fred
attribute of
Phelps
God.
protesting at Matthew's funeral
love that
and finding out he was
Preach it.
coming back to Laramie for the
God-hatred is
trial of
pure.
Russell Henderson,
It's a determination.
I decided someone needed to stand toe-to-toe with this guy and show the differences. I think when our nation is talking about hatred as much as we are right now, someone needs to show there's a better way of dealing with this kind of hatred. So our idea is to dress up like angels. Now we've designed this angel outfit, for our wings are huge. They're like big-ass wings. And there'll be 10 to 20 of us, and we are going to completely block him. I mean, we are this group of people bringing forth a message of peace and love and compassion. So this big-ass band of angels shows up, and we don't say a word. And we're calling it Angel Action. Yeah, this 21-year-old little lesbian is ready to walk the line with him.
Preachers laid their hands upon me. It was called an ordination. Mine came from
And I knew my angels are going to be taking the brunt of everything he had to yell and say. I mean, we were going to be blocking him, and he was going to be like pissed off to all hell. So I went out and bought all my angels earplugs.
Wow, what a powerful scene.
Yes, very inspiring. The government continues to work on hate crime legislation in order to prevent occurrences like Danny's happening ever again. Next on Right Town News, with a troubled economy, is getting a summer job going to be a struggle this year for students? We'll find out after the break. Did you know that every hour someone commits a hate crime? Every day, at least 8 black people, 3 white people, 3 gay people, 3 Jewish people, and 1 Latino person become hate crime victims. Every week, a cross is burned. A hate crime is a crime directed against people because of what they are, not who they are. These crimes include those directed at others because of their race, color, religion, national origin, ethnicity, gender, disability, or sexual orientation. How would you feel if someone judged you because of who you are and who you want to be? Don't be the cause of another hate crime. Make a difference.
Stop the hate!